Hello, I'm Tom Hathaway, so let's talk business analysis. In this nugget, we are going to discuss Agile Software Development methodologies, what they are, and how they affect you when you are the one wearing the BA hat.
Agile is an approach to delivering information technology or IT solutions that focus on changing business needs and technologies. The founding group published its premise and promise on the web in 2001 as the Agile Manifesto, declaring, amongst other things, our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. Welcome changing requirements, even late in development. Business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project. The most efficient and effective method of conveying information to and within a development team is face-to-face conversation. Simplicity, the art of maximizing the amount of work not done, is essential. This means that the person wearing the business analysis hat on an Agile project, whom we call the BA, whether or not that individual has that job title, does business analysis strictly on an as-needed basis. However, as with every other methodology, some degree of upfront definition of business vision, goals, objectives, and high-level stakeholder requirements is essential. Of all available methodologies, Agile is the approach most receptive to change. Nothing is permanent until the project has delivered a solution that is, quote, sufficient to the needs of the users, end quote. There are several Agile methodologies available. Currently, the most well-known are Scrum, Lean, Kanban, Extreme Programming or XP, Crystal, Dynamic Systems Development Method or DSDM, and Feature-Driven Development or FDD. As of 2012, about 74% of Agile projects followed the Scrum Approach or are Scrum/XP hybrids. The Scrum Approach divides software development into small chunks known as sprints, each of which delivers a working piece of software, aka incremental functionality. An iteration is a series of sprints which, taken together, deliver a software component that provides business value to the customer. One distinguishing characteristic of all Agile methodologies is the lack of distinction between phases such as analysis, design, coding, and testing. All of these activities occur iteratively within the sprint. In the Scrum and Scrum XP hybrids, the major mode for expressing requirements is the user story. A user story describes what the system needs to do for a specific user role and why the user needs it. The Agile team creates a set of tasks for each user story to be able to estimate and coordinate individual work.